This conference will
Yep.
now be recorded.
It's recording. We're good to go.
It is 16 on April 23rd,
Ask everybody to mute their phones, please. Everybody mute if you can. Sorry, Dave.
This meeting is being conducted remotely per Executive Order 2020-07 in response to COVID-19. Public may join this meeting from computer, tablet, or smartphone at https://global.gotomeeting.com/join/271-970-253. Public may also dial in using phone number 1-571-317-3122, access code 271-970-253. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Moline,
Here.
Commissioner Blue,
Present.
Commissioner Kessler. She's muted, but I got her. Commissioner
Here.
Robin,
Here.
President Dorhoeffer.
Here, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
Which is
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on the agenda this evening is the omnibus vote agenda. Items under the omnibus vote agenda are considered routine and/or non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. If a separate vote on any one item is desired, it will be pulled from the omnibus vote agenda and voted on separately. Items included in the omnibus vote agenda for this evening are the minutes of the special board meeting dated March 19th, 2020, minutes of the regular board meeting dated March 19, 2020, minutes of the special board meeting dated April 7th, 2020, payroll and payables through April 23rd, 2020 in the amount of $451,157.43. Could I have a motion to approve the omnibus vote agenda?
so moved.
Second?
Second.
Was
Roll
that
call.
Mike?
Yes.
Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Commissioner Moline,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the welcome to visitors and guests public comment period. Jeff, we have no one in the queue to join us.
No, there's nobody joining us. No.
And have we received any email comments or questions coming in from the public?
None. None have been received. No.
Very good. Next item on the agenda is the financial report for the period ending March 31st, 2020. Marla, are there any changes to the financial reports that are currently on file?
No, they are good as provided.
Very good. Next item on the agenda is reports and communication. Executive Director Jeff Fouchereau. Jeff?
Okay. Thank you, Dave. First, one of the items we typically, as you know, a couple times a year, we're required by statute to provide closed session minutes and audio tapes for recommendations, whether we want to keep them confidential or not. So this is the month that we have that. We've opted, instead of having to, typically we do this in closed session, going out of regular session at the end of the meeting, going into closed, then coming back in, we would have to really jump through a lot of go-to meetings and re-enter. So for the sake of tonight, we are just keeping them under an action item under the open session of the meeting tonight. So there's nothing substantive that the board needs to be concerned about in terms of remaining confidential. We've got on the agenda tonight our Family Aquatic Center. We'll talk to you a little bit more about that when that item comes up. And just know that IEPD has coordinated a webinar a week from today I'm not sure of the time. I am registered. Any of the board members are welcome to register for that as well. It's specifically going to be addressing swimming pool facilities with IDPH members. So I just found that out this afternoon. You have my executive work plan as an item for adoption tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions prior to that. We also Marla, and really everybody over the last, several weeks. We've done a pretty quick turnaround and spent a lot of hours on revising our 2021 budget. We gave you a copy of that tonight. Certainly, we can answer any questions from the board relative to that. You've got a summary memorandum that kind of highlights a lot of the areas that we are just going to postpone. A couple of weeks ago, if you remember, at our scheduled April 7th meeting, the board did approve all of the capital plans and some of our larger expended items. We just suspended those for this next fiscal year, and that saved the district, over $600,000. So a lot of things that Marla can probably speak to a little bit more in that cover memorandum of what the finance department has put before you. We also have on the agenda towards the end on Lakeview's Fitness, just a staff recommendation on reducing some of the hours, specifically on the back end of the fitness center operations, so in the evening time. And then just lastly, in a couple weeks from today, we have a scheduled required public meeting to discuss our budget and appropriation. We've scheduled that for 4:30 p.m. on Thursday, May 7th. Again, we're going to probably be doing this remotely, as you all know. And we would just need to make sure we have a quorum from the board to facilitate that hearing. So I'll be touching base with you all prior to that. That's all I got for now. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jeff? Commissioner Robbins.
Jeff, I have a question on the budget. Right now through March 31st, 10 months into our fiscal year, we have an $863,000 profit. And we're projected to have a deficit at the end of the year of $636,000. Does that mean we're going to lose $1.5 million in April and May?
No, it's through the whole year that we're projecting. That's taking the 10 months to date and
Right.
what we think is going to happen for the next 2 months.
Right.
So the combined loss.
Right, but I'm showing it at March 31st, an $863,000 profit.
You know what,
Are you on the fund summary, Bruce? Is that the 2-page, the fund summary document you're looking at?
Well, I'm looking at our, on a bunch of the revenue and expenditure reports, the last sheet that shows the total revenues for the year of $10,600,000, total expenditures $9,800,000, a profit of $863,280.
Oh, that's, okay. Sorry, I have to switch between screens. That includes our fund balances. So if you go up to net of revenue and expenditures, our year-to-date balance is a negative 53,746. It's only when you add in our fund balances that you have the positive 863,000.
Okay, because it's a little confusing because it's showing total revenues for everything, all funds, 10,600,000. So that includes.
Yeah, that includes fund balances when you get to the last grouping there.
Okay, but I'm confused because if I look at that 53,000, that line ahead, and that only shows revenues of $289,000. We have to have more than $289,000 in revenues for 10 months.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. You're right. I'm a section off. That is the net, that 53,000 is the net of the aquatic center. Sorry,
Right.
I'm looking at a
But again,
thumbprint here.
when,
So yeah, so it's because of that loss is now with the projection of losing all of the revenues going forward that we
Okay.
would typically be bringing in.
no, I understand, but obviously we're gonna not have as many expenditures for the 2 months. But it looks like,
Well,
are we really gonna
the-
lose $1.5 million in 2 months?
it's harder on the expenditure side because the expenditures have really already happened for the year. Where that revenue, even for just 2 months at, Lakeview, you still have spent, all of the equipment purchases, all of the parks, all of the capital improvements. Those have already all been spent for the year. So there's very little to do that we can do so late in the year to control the expenditures. And then all of a sudden we have this big outflow of revenue that was expected.
Okay.
If I can interject quickly.
Yes.
Keep in mind too that a significant number of higher priced programs will be getting refunds, such as preschool. So not
That's
only is
true
it not
too. Yeah, all
coming
the
in, we are
refunds.
returning some higher dollar amounts.
And that's included in the projection, all of the refunds, rentals, programs, all of the Lakeview Fitness revenue on hold.
PALS, childcare.
Yes.
Bruce, are you satisfied with the response or?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, obviously, until we see what the actual numbers are at May 31st. I'm hoping that the deficit will be less than 600,000 that you're projecting, because we do have such a strong profit for the first 10 months.
Yeah, and the positive thing was with all of the cuts we did, even with the really over $1 million in losses over this year and the budgeted year, we're expecting to only, from our original budget, be down just under $300,000. So if we can contain our losses to that number for the losses in revenue that we're expecting, I think we'll be in very, good shape for the amount of time that we've had to close.
Sure. Okay.
Marla, that's highlighted in the cover memorandum that we prepared
Yes.
for the board, what you were just referring to. And we can go over that if anybody has any other questions. Any other questions for me?
Thank you very much, Jeff. Next item is Finance and HR Superintendent Marla DeSico. Marla?
Hi, just a few brief items tonight. I just wanted to point out that every year in April, when we do our levy ordinance, we do a balloon ordinance because at the time we don't know what our EAV will be. And so once the Lake County has that, they send out the information and then we have to cut back our levy request based on what EAV was. So then when we originally did the budget, we had to, guess at what we were going to be receiving in property taxes. So the good news was that conservative, like we always are when we budget, I was able to add in another $25,000 in property tax revenue to the budget, which was very good timing that we had this information and we were redoing the budget so we could add that in. EAV only increased a small amount. Next year, it probably will as well. Hopefully won't be negative. But overall, the tax levy went well for us. And then I'll just point out in the human resource section, Jim?
Commissioner Blue?
I was going to let Marla finish, but if she finishes, then I'll follow up with my comment. But go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Marla.
I was going to say, we've been taking in so much information that we've done our best to communicate to staff. Information on healthy practices, PPE, employee assistance, unemployment. So we've all been doing lots of webinars, bringing in a lot of information and then trying to provide that back to our staff to keep them updated, to keep them safe, to keep them in the loop. So that's been a lot of time of ours has been spent on taking in the information and then providing it in a more usable, friendly format to our staff. And that's my report.
Commissioner Blue.
Yeah, just to follow up on the assessment issue. We've had, where I work at the Forest Reserve, many discussions with the assessment people. This year, we'll all see a little increase. Next year, they're not expecting the big hit. It's the following year is where we're all going to feel the hit from the EAV. So just so you know, it's not 2020. It's probably not 2020, but 2022 will be a challenge. So that was all.
Jim, how big a hit?
Jim,
How big a hit they looking at?
They're not sure yet, but they're looking back at 2008 and 2009.
Really?
Yes. That's what they're looking back at. They're not sure it's going to go that deep, but that's their fear. So just so everybody knows.
And I will say during that time, even though EAV dropped, we still had enough room in our extensions that we really didn't lose out on any money. So some people who are more at the top of their extensions, they don't have as much room to increase their multiplier, lost out on money. We actually were still good in 2008. So.
Commissioner Robbins.
Marla, you have on your report that you just gave, you have March 31st, 2019, kindergarten account operating balance, $6,201,972. Can you explain what that is?
That's the account that is the money that's supplied by the school district for the building of the kindergarten building. We started more recently reporting that information. The audit that was done by Sikich, they felt that we should be at least, even though our board isn't making those decisions because the accounts, et cetera, are in our name, that they wanted that to be on our board reports, but that really isn't our money.
Should that be dated though March 31st, 2020?
Yes.
Oh, do I have the wrong? Oh, you're right. It should have been 2020. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, Recreation Superintendent Tom Ritter. Tom has gone. James, Park Superintendent James Kim.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The skate park is like 90% complete. Our staff planted all the trees. We planted about 7,000 square feet of sod, and we're looking to hydroseed the rest early next week when we can get our hands on a hydroseeder. Looks great. It is closed, everyone, so please stay off it. I know it's very tempting because it's new and exciting and very different, but for people's safety, please stay off. Some good news came out of this. I got a report from the Illinois EPA about a fuel tank remediation at 7 Phillip Road. It looks like we might be receiving a no further remediation letter by the end of the month or even early next month. We recently sent a report in before the April 15th deadline with all the requirements that they asked for. And NFR was specified in an email exchange that was a possibility. So that's good news. I can report it down as soon as I get it. Talking about school district 73 kindergarten, the playground is pretty much erect and complete. They're just waiting on a couple loose ends, and then they're gonna concrete all the footers in and tighten all the nuts and bolts, and then they'll start putting down this surfacing. It'll hopefully be done by June 1. Solar panel project at the maintenance shop has been suspended. The electrical contractor that won the bid to install has shut down their operations. They're only like a 5-person electrical service company. So they decided to shut their jobs down until stay in shelter is lifted, which is now through the end of May. And for the public, our maintenance staff is out there doing our park maintenance for the spring. So if you can just please give them space and just respect the 6-foot social distancing. And last, shelter restrooms are not opening anytime soon. So if you need more information, please give the park district a call. And that concludes my report. If there's any questions.
Any questions for James? Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is Marketing and Communications Manager, Cheryl Buman. Cheryl?
Hello, good evening, everyone. We've been busy marketing, doing a lot of communication just to the residents community about what's been going on. Just in short, we do have staff working on the fall guide, whichever way that's going to be presented, but rec staff is working on our fall guide. We've had quite a few e-newsletters, which is our email marketing, go out to the community regarding our PALS registration, our summer programs, rock gardens, a lot of COVID updates as we get them. So we've had really good response and higher than normal people opening all of our emails. They've been between 35 and 40%, and the national average is 24. So I do believe that we're getting the communication out. We've had some emails go out about our Family Aquatic Center, just saying that we still encourage people to purchase their pass, but they're not actually purchasing it. They're kind of reserving it, and their card will not be charged until 1 week prior to the facility opening. So they're still showing interest, but we're not really actually getting the money from the people yet. Similar situation for our summer programs. We're asking people to register. We're taking their credit card, but we're not charging anybody until the program actually is going to run 1 week prior to the program starting. As for summer camp, we're not requiring any, these are all emails I've sent out. We're not requiring any deposit like we normally would. We're just asking them to make 2 payments in May and June. And then camp, for any camp sessions that are later than June, they'll just pay in full. So basically, it's just asking people to tell us they're interested, but we're not taking their money quite yet, so we don't have to do refunding if it does come to that. We've had, prior to my report, we had 5 online classes, and we've added 5 more. So rec staff is working hard with their online classes. We've got a nice variety. Today, the email will go out tomorrow, but we have a cooking class, a magic class. We have our magician, Gary Cantor. He's doing 2 classes, one of them on how to create balloon animals, and on magician, do magic tricks. We have one on drawing. So those are all coming up. And we have had some people sign up. We've had some coding, robotics coding, and design classes that people have taken. So those are continuing. Along that line, on our homepage, because these classes are growing, we needed a way for people to find them. So I just got word before our board report. I had our web designer people change one of our links. It's called online classes. For right now, league standings will go away, and when they click on that link, which is not quite ready yet, it will bring you to all of our online classes. So right now we have a slide that says take our online classes. If you click on it, it goes to the whole list of classes, and they can register right from that link. So at least gets people in one place for all what we're offering. We had a fun thing go out that we work with rec staff with. It was Happy Birthday Sully. So we had Jack was in our Sully costume, our mascot, and we had him holding a sign that says Happy Birthday. And so all kids who have birthdays between 3 and 8 years old are getting emails. And that was worked out through Kathy with our Mix Galaxy. So we've had some really nice comments back saying thank you. It made their day, so they're not able to have their big birthday parties. So that may just always continue. It seems to be kind of an easy thing to do. As far as our website, the skate park, if you haven't looked at our skate park page, I encourage you to look at it. It looks really nice. Rick sent me pictures today with the landscaping. So it just shows the progression of how our skate park was created. It's looking really nice. So that's under parks on our website. And that is really, I don't want to get into too much detail. Obviously for social media, we've used that heavily. My second page of my report is all about all the social media that's been going out. We post about 7 posts per day, variety of posts. We have a Lakeview Fitness post. In fact, their followers increased 17%. We have videos. We have some of our childcare teachers reading stories, just all sorts. So we've had really good engagement. That's increased 22% over the last month. So people are engaged with the Park District, and we're always, we keep looking for some new information to give to the residents. And that's my report for the evening, if you have any questions.
Any questions for Cheryl? Thank you very much, Cheryl. Let's
You're
go back
welcome.
to Recreation Superintendent Tom Ritter has rejoined us.
Thank you. I lost my video and then I came back and didn't have much audio, but I think we're good now. So I'll try not to overlap. Cheryl and I sometimes have similar things. I did not hear all of her report, but I did want to thank a lot of our partner contractors that are doing classes with us online. It obviously took a lot of quick last minute planning. So I wanted to thank Amazing Minds, RoboThink, iCook, Kinder Music did some classes, and we just added Magic, and we just added Young Rembrandt's cartoon drawings. So more and more is being added, and it might be the way of the future. We shall see. Excuse me. Our community gardens, the only site that is sold out is the boat dock location. So if people are interested in having a community garden, there are still spots at Indianwood Drive and Hartman Park. We don't have a finite date set yet, but I can comfortably say by May 1st, they will be open so people can start planting at all 3 locations. Our registration for the PALS After School program started in April, and registration is going very well. We did, Cheryl mentioned how we're not charging some of these initial fees to take some pressure off people just to have them sign up and make the commitment. And I can say that tentatively our kindergarten location, the new location, is full. But that doesn't mean we won't be able to take more kids until we have a chance to get into the new school and do a tour, which we were hoping to do by now, but we'll do it in May. That'll give us a better feel for what our capacity could be. So right now we put 40 kids per day as a comfortable number without seeing the space, and we're at 40 as of today. So good to see the kindergarten facilities doing well. The other places are getting close to full as well, in particular Elementary North. So if anyone is considering PALS for next year, I encourage them to do it now to at least commit. For those that couldn't share in the Hop-In Holiday Hunt and the Kids Castle Egg Hunt, obviously those events were canceled, but we do plan to have some variation of an egg hunt later this year. So something for people to look forward to. We also just posted on Facebook yesterday, we're doing a virtual Loop the Lakes, since we're not gonna have our 5K run. Basically, we're encouraging people to be independent, socially distanced, and go out on their own. But if they wanna run the course, we posted the course for them. And if they can send us their time and any selfies, we're gonna put them in a raffle to win a gift card to a local restaurant. So, and just so people know, the family kite fly has been canceled. That is scheduled for the 29th, but just in case anyone was wondering. And finally, the Recycle-A-Rama, which is scheduled for May 30th. We were hoping to still conduct that event, but with the new shelter in place, that will not happen. So we are gonna consider a rescheduled recycling event for later this year. Obviously during the shelter in place, I think a lot of people did some cleaning. So it probably would be a good year for a recycling event. So we'll try and table that a few months from now. And that is my report for now, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Tom? I'm not sure whose responsibility is, but the painting of the rocks, where did that come from?
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Yeah, me and my wife.
Actually, James had that really nice idea. He saw some rock garden somewhere else, so he brought it to the leadership team on one of our morning meetings, and then we just kind of all collaborated together and got it done.
I ran into several residents, and I was out there today. A lot of positive feedback. Very cool idea. Thank you. It's a great idea.
Uh,
Mike,
just-
what were you saying? Nothing. All right, next item on the agenda, facility manager Joe Zimmerman. Joe?
Good evening. So with the shutdown, we have focused more on social media, trying to incorporate more challenges for our members, motivational quotes, daily workouts. Marketing's been doing a great job helping us with that. Along those same lines, we've been investigating virtual training for when we do open back up. It's something that throughout the industry, everybody's saying is here to stay. So we are looking at different ways that we can incorporate that in our facility. Lacey's done a fantastic job with providing content for social media, and our members have given us some feedback, and they really appreciate it. So we're also contacting our members on a daily basis. Patty is leading that agenda item, I guess. We've been calling and emailing, at least for a couple hours every day, just to see how they're doing, check in with them. We feel it helps keep a sense of community through all of this and lets them know that we're thinking about them. The biggest thing we've been doing is creating a reopening plan. So it's hard to say exactly what that will look like at the end, but as of right now, we have 4 different phases, and we're focusing on 4 different areas in each phase. Hopefully the plan is that it'll allow us to quickly adapt to the changing situations, and whenever we are able to open up again, we'll have a concrete plan in place that will allow us to open up smoothly, safely, and make sure that our facility is always clean. I've also been working a lot with the facility management section of IPRA. I meet with a subgroup twice a week to kind of determine best practices for fitness facilities in the wake of all this, and it's been extremely useful. In addition to that, I try to hop on as many webinars as I can, as you know, from like Club Industry, URSA, Club Solutions, just to get an idea of what the private side's doing and kind of hear what gyms that are opening up, what they're doing to make sure that their members feel safe coming in the facility. We also sent out a shutdown survey to our members, just with a few questions in them regarding the big things like how comfortable would you feel coming back in once the shelter in place is lifted. We had 70% of respondents say they'd be extremely likely to come back in. I thought that was really a great piece of news. We had over 200 people respond as well. And then also the main things that people said would get them back in the door was just making sure our facility is clean, making sure rules are enforced, and making sure that we're encouraging social distancing. So nothing, out of the obvious, but it was good to hear from them. And lastly, we wanted to recognize Al Aaron as our member of the month for April. He does a sweaty selfie every day, and he gets a lot of the Lakeview members to participate in that. So he's just been a great job of keeping this group close knit through it all. So thanks for being part of the community, Al. And that's my report. If there's any questions.
Any questions for Joe? Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is Commissioner Committee
Dave.
report. Yep.
Dave,
Yes, sir.
real quick, Joe. I know I've seen on Facebook there that you have, that some of the instructors and whatever are doing small bits on Facebook. Are any of the like aerobics instructors doing like live or recorded like 45-minute workouts with members, like almost like aerobic classes online?
They are. We can't share those.
I understand.
Yeah,
it is happening though, right? I mean, they're doing it on their own.
They are, yes.
Because that's what's happening with other clubs. I was just curious. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
James, you had something about the rock garden?
I just want to comment that I put out about 100 more rocks at both the Century Boat Dock and the Deer Path Kids Castle. So if people are looking, because there weren't any as of yesterday morning, there's plenty now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Great idea. Next item on the agenda is committee reports, commissioner reports. There are none. Next is board correspondence. We did receive one thing, one letter from the Cougar Athletic Boosters. It says, thank you for your support of VHHS athletic programs by donating to the 20th annual Cougar Athletic Boosters Bash. It was a huge success. Thanks to your generosity, we raised over $26,000 for our student athletes. We hope that you will probably support us again next year. Sincerely, Elise Uter, Cougar Athletic Boosters. So good to see that program or that event getting back this year. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We've got a aquatic center update. Jeff, would you like to bring us up to speed, please?
Sure. Thank you, Dave. So in your packet, there was just a memorandum to the board from Tom and myself. This was getting back to the April 7th a special meeting we held a couple of weeks ago, just kind of relative to getting some consensus from the board of whether we want to continue to look to operate FAC for summer of 2020. So Tom and his staff did some background since that time. You know, you see that at the time we only had 27 lifeguards that Robert was able to secure. That number is between 35 and 40 today. So we're slowly elevating to that, but you know, knowing that that's still well below where we need to be. It's probably right around 50% being there that we could adequately staff. Typically, we're into like 75 lifeguards that we would need to employ to do a full fledged operation of FAC for the summer. And then we also just gave you kind of an update on passes. So that number hasn't changed at all. So you can see we've sold about 130 passes, season passes. And, you know, typically at this time, we're somewhere around 750. So well below where we would typically be, you know, without facing this particular issue we're having with COVID. So in light of just the conversation from a couple of weeks ago, there's still no direction from IDPH. As I mentioned earlier in my report, that we, you know, having some kind of communication with IDPH leadership a week from today with IAPD. And certainly any of the board members, as I said, are welcome to join in that conversation. I'll, if you don't get anything from IAPD, I'll make sure I send you the link so you can register for that, just to sit in and listen in. In the group that I communicate with on a daily basis with about 50 park directors in around the Chicagoland area. I know of 5 communities that have already decided not to open their aquatic centers or their swimming pools for this season. So the vast majority, as you can see, are still kind of waiting on the governor's order or IDPH's order in terms of what, you know, potentially what we can do. I would suggest we at least hold off in the interim until we find out a little bit more after next week, and it could even get into early May. With that being said, with the order today of the shelter at home through May 30, it's still, you know, swimming pools are not on that May 1 cut, if you will, from the governor. And so it still kind of positions us from a timeline that it could be anywhere around the 13th or 14th of June with that 14-day period that you need to kind of hold in place with the phasing that the federal government's issued that we need to comply with, that we could even potentially open. That and on top of, you know, if you did get that position that we could open at that time, then we would, you know, need some time for training all of our employees as well before we could open. So with this budget we presented you tonight, it had enabled us to look at a June 6th open, and obviously that's not going to be viable at this stage. So, you know, whether we can get into a June 13th, 15th, maybe even the 20th of June is another conversation that we'll have to have with the board, you know, sometime within probably the next 7 to 10 days of what we want to do. Unless, you know, we start seeing communities around us just decide to, to close their facilities. And that could very well happen over the next, week to 10 days. And that might, provide some additional feedback. I do want to be very transparent with the board in terms of just your budget that, we're showing FAC full operation this summer with a June 6th opening, showing a loss of, a little under $200,000. Most of that is just because our revenues are going to be way down. So, with that in mind, there are some options that we could, pursue. And, with the board at a later date, we could close off sections of the pool to reduce the amount of labor with lifeguards, and that would save a significant amount of money too. But just wanted to kind of leave it at this point to just open up any conversation or discussion the board might have relative to FAC. I see Dave's muted right now, so I'm happy to take anybody else if they want to jump in.
I do have a question, Jeff. I know that when we spoke last time, we were speaking that that we really needed to open the pools by, I thought like the middle of June, June 15th, and go a couple of months. I mean, is it even feasible, to even open up June 15th or?
Yeah, I think, I think it's feasible, Bruce, if you're looking at even like a June 20th and potentially staying open through maybe, mid-August, it at least gives you, 60 days worth of operation. Beyond that, I think if I stated a couple of weeks ago, if we're positioned to have to, push an opening and, to July 1, I don't think it really merits at that point to open the facility.
So June 15th, June 20th could be a feasible date?
It could be. Yeah, it could be. Sure.
Commissioner Blue? Commissioner Blue?
I'm here. So, I guess one of my big things that I've been preaching and or talking about the whole time is that I don't want to see any staff lose their jobs through this. And I'm looking at the pool, and I looked at your projected budget, and I'm seeing a substantial loss, but I'm not showing any full-time salaries that are really being applied to that budget. So I look at that and I see a huge number that maybe we don't need to suffer this summer. And perhaps based on the governor's plan, I think Jeff, June 20 is optimistic right now that we could even get it open. And I feel bad for a lot of the kids that won't have summer jobs and everything like that. But I think we have to realistically look that this could be a huge hit to the Park District. It's a big loss. And for such a short amount of time, right now, I'm not leaning towards even opening it. I think I have real problems with that. I'd rather save our staff, to be honest with you. I think the future of the district is more important than one summer. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but that's just kind of what I'm looking at.
And Commissioner Moline?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Jim, except at the same token, we have citizens that when we do finally get out of shelter in place are going to be looking for things to do. We are a service to as part of the community. I'm in no way suggesting that I think we should open the pool fully, but I think personally, I'd love to see us at least consider, even if it's only one part of the pool, even if it's not the slide, if we're offering just the pool that we can do laps in and somebody can come on a hot day and we can staff it with, I don't even know what the number would be, Jeff, but a third, 25% of the normal staffing, because we're going to be limiting the hours, limiting the amount of area that we're going to they're going to have access to. I'd like to at least consider that, unless it's outrageously expensive.
Commissioner Kessler.
So I do still think I have a lot of concerns of opening it. And I'm based on the low people wanting to work there, based on the number of people who are buying season passes. I think that that's kind of speaking of what's important to our residents. Yes, there's going to be a few that are really going to want to come. Is there other options we could do at Lakeview if we're opening up Lakeview and have the swimming pool there? Can we, do some kind of just open swim or do a little bit more in that pool, utilize that in a different way in the summer to kind of accommodate the needs for those that do want to go swimming? But for the cost, the amount of time that it's going to be open, I'm not seeing it, given we're sheltering in place through May, and then to be around 200 plus people in a pool, I don't see that staying safe. And if we start limiting how many people could go in a pool at a time, if we're limiting it down to 20, I mean, it just seems like a very expensive thing to operate for very few people who could enjoy it. So I guess I would rather take those funds and see what else we can offer the community to kind of replace this. Can we be creative and come up with something else?
Any other comments? Commissioner Moline.
Yeah, I am in no way suggesting that we lose $200,000. I think that we don't really know until testing occurs more over the next month. We won't know what kind of impact there's even going to be when it comes to the time of July. I'm not saying that it won't be terrible. I'm not saying that we still won't not open, because we're not far enough along and we're not keeping the curve down. But at the same time, I don't think the staffing is going to be an issue personally. And again, this is just my gut feeling. There's going to be a ton of people looking for jobs, a ton. And you're right. Right now, everybody's scared to death and are staying home. But on the first hot day, and if we have a hot summer, I'm not saying we will, but if we do, there'll be plenty of people that will want to come in there at that point. So I don't think using the numbers of staff and, because if it was me, no matter how much I love the pool, I'm not buying a pass right now with under the circumstances. I don't have a job. I have no clue what's going on. I'm not going to commit to anything. But that doesn't necessarily mean that come July, people aren't going to go, why the hell isn't the pool open? And I'm not suggesting we decide that today. I'm suggesting that we at least empower staff to look at a completely reduced opening with a limited amount of space available, maybe one pool, whatever staffing that entails, and at least come up with a number, and then we'll know. If we're only going to lose $50,000, we lose more than that on a regular year. So it's not the end of the, to me, it wouldn't be the end of the world if we're supplying a service to the community. So that's all I'm asking. I'm not suggesting we leave it open or open it or decide tonight. I'm just saying I'd rather not make that decision now, and I'd like to have what options we can have available to us knowledge-wise.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make any decisions tonight. I think at the earliest, you're looking at end of May to know what's happening. Mid-May, you can start to plan, but nothing's going to happen until the end of May with the shelter in place. Jeff, you put together some plans to open a modified pool if we want to?
Yeah, and we shared at the April 7th meeting, I know Tom had, there was a little Excel sheet that we prepared with just options of if we close the river or if we just open the front half of the pool, we can work on, getting those cleaned up for you. So, just telling you, quite frankly, and answering Mike's, just question was if we just opened the front half of the pool with the guards that we have right now secured, we could accommodate that. But you're talking about the whole back half of the pool between, the plunge pool and the river that we just wouldn't fill. We just wouldn't open it at all. Again, we have no idea right now, even if we're going to be allowed to. And, like I said a couple of weeks ago, it could just, this conversation could be moot if, if we're not allowed to even open a swimming facility because of the potential challenges of keeping social distancing, if those are requirements by the state. That's just going to be too hard for us to handle and monitor and police on a regular basis. Now, I think I've spoken to most of the board members. There are some options in terms of if it is an amenity that the board feels strongly about, even just that front half where we could just open it for periods of time during the day for lap swimming. That's certainly something you could control. If you had water exercise classes, during the day or afternoon or evening, those are easy to control. The spray ground area, again, easier to control where you could limit the amount of people coming in. But it does create that challenge of, hot day and all of a sudden you got 200 people lining up to get in, or even 100 people lining up to get in, and you got to tell them, we can only take 10 of you or 20 of you at a time. So it certainly that would reduce the proposed deficit that we have before you. That 200K is, like I said, that's an all-in. If you took just the front half of the pool, I can't remember, Tom, if you know that number, but it's probably like more like 50K in terms of a loss. Is that accurate?
Your deficit would definitely drop below 100,000. There's more expense from the back half of the facility than the front.
Commissioner Kessler.
So I agree. We kind of just need to wait and see what develops. But I do like the idea. What Joe did is with Lakeview is that if we're getting to the point where we may or may not want to do it, if it's still a possibility, do we survey all our current people who have bought passes and say, is this something, how strongly would you come? And just to get a pulse of our community of who's even really wanting to come.
Cheryl, could we pull?
I wouldn't say doing it yet, not until we know, if everything's getting closed, then we don't even go down that path. But if it gets to the point where some people are opening, some aren't, and we're trying to make that difficult decision.
All right.
So let me ask just staff. I mean, James, weigh in on what's your time frame with your team that you would need to just be ready to go?
If we're opening the entire pool, I would need a solid 3 weeks.
Okay. If you need the front half?
If it's just the front half, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. Okay. Knowing that we don't have to pressure wash the back river, that takes six days almost.
I think you're going to have a longer lead time on getting staff hired once you make the decision and onboarded and trained and ready to go, probably, 2 weeks or more, then potentially get the full set up.
Okay.
So Dave, I think, one of the things, I guess, if I'm hearing right, we could just, let's just give it another week to 10 days until what we hear. In the interim, we could, put some kind of a community survey together and just get a pulse from people.
I wouldn't send out the community survey until we know mid-May, till we know what's, because to send out a community survey and then have it find out we can't open the pool at all.
Right. No, I was indicating after, if there's an idea that we're going to open, that we could push something out.
Yeah, because even now, if you take it now, you're not going to get the same responses you're going to get. People will have more knowledge in 2 or 3 weeks. than they have now. They're, again, people are scared to death. They're still hunkering down in their houses. They're not going to, you're not going to get an accurate feel for what they're going to feel like in a month and a half.
Right.
In my opinion.
Agree. All right. Next item on the agenda is new business. Executive Director 2020/2021 work plan adoption. Could I have a motion to approve the 2020-2021 work plan?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Maline,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes, next item is resolution 02-20, a resolution authorizing Park Board President to extend janitorial services contract between the Vernon Hills Park District and Crystal Maintenance in the amount of $68,538.60. Could I have a motion to approve resolution 02-20?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion. Jeff, is this all COVID-19 related?
Well, no, this is our standard maintenance contract for Lakeview. So it's just the same cleaning crew that we've had, and we're just extending their contract for a year.
Got it. Roll call.
Hold on just a
Commissioner
second.
Commissioner Maline.
Well, no, if Bruce has something, I'll let him go first.
No, go ahead. I don't have.
Oh, okay. All I was going to ask is it prorated based on the fact that they're not doing anything for the next 4 weeks?
We are not.
I mean, are we not paying them right now?
No, we're not paying them for April at all.
Okay, that's all I was going to ask is that, obviously, I was curious. Okay, thank you.
And we're not going to pay them if it's all of May as well then.
Commissioner Robbins, did you have something?
No, I had the same thing that Mike was going to say.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Maline,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes. Next item is resolution 03-20, a resolution authorizing Park Board President to extend mowing services contract between the Vernon Hills Park District and Gilio Landscaping in the amount of $56,730. Could I have a motion to approve resolution 03-20?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Maline,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes, next item is resolution 04-20, -20, a resolution authorizing Park Board President to extend mowing services contract between, 04-20, resolution authorizing Park Board President to extend landscaping services contract between the Vernon Hills Park District and Balanced Environments in the amount of $50,072. Can I have a motion to approve resolution 4-20?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Maline,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes, next item is resolution 05-20, a resolution authorizing Park Board President to extend camp bus services contract between the Vernon Hills Park District and Durham School Services in the amount of $42.70 per hour. Could I have a motion to approve resolution 05-20?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion, roll call.
Question.
Dave, I have a question.
Up, Commissioner Robbins.
The first three contracts that we were approved was a 1% increase, 2%, This is a 6%. I think this is, seems out of line to me. This in
No,
6.
Bruce, I can tell you with my dealings with the school, bus services are getting more and more expensive. They are out of control, but no matter how much you search around, they're all the same.
Okay.
The high school is seeing 10 to 12% increases in their busing. Commissioner Baloo?
Yeah, not about the increase. The question I have is, obviously this is for our camps, am I correct? Yes?
Yes.
So if we don't have the camps, are we bound to anything financially, or is it based on services given?
Just services
Based on
given.
service.
Yeah, you're not bound at all.
That's all I had. I'm good.
Roll call?
Commissioner Maline,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes. Next item is the Peterson Park Shelter Roof Repair Recommendation. Could I have a motion to award the project to Anthony Roofing of Tetka America in the amount of $31,187.38?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
I got it. Yeah, Jim, go ahead, Jim.
Up, Jim, go ahead.
Just a quick question. Would it be nice with a skylight? The
The
shelter?
skylights up with the restroom.
Pardon me?
The skylights that they're quoted in the proposal is for the restrooms, so it helps with the lighting inside there.
So my question is, so I know skylights and everything are extra costs. Would it be cheaper without the skylights?
Yes, it would be. I mean, there's skylights there now, so we just thought go one.
I understand that, but not replacing them, would it be cheaper?
Yes, it would be.
Just a thought.
I have no
Yeah,
problem.
but how do you, what about the lighting in the bathrooms then?
Yeah.
There's two LED strip fixtures, and we've changed them from the old T12 fluorescent, so it's a lot brighter already, and we painted it
So the
white.
luminescence would be enough?
I believe so, yes.
And to mention that you could put them on motion detectors so they would not be on all the time, correct?
They're on right now, on motion.
Okay. So I'm not, to me, I think there could be some savings without putting those skylights in.
Yeah, there'll be saving short term and probably long term because they'll probably leak eventually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, skylights are notorious for creating a problem down the road.
Right.
So Dave, if that's the board consensus to eliminate skylights, then we would need to have James, I don't know, is that something we can go back to the vendor then and ask him to redo this proposal?
Oh, yes, you'll just strike that too clear.
Do you have time to do you have time to push it off until the May meeting?
Jeff, hey Jeff, why don't we just approve this as a not to exceed?
I'd rather you get because this is a contractor through a prescribed co-op. I'd rather, get a solid price for them and lock it in. James, you have time to, push it to May?
The stay in shelter till the 30th. I mean, Tom, do you thoughts of having camp there? Because that's what's pushing it right now. Because they need 3 to 4 weeks.
Dave, what we can do, what I would suggest, Dave, is that you just ask for a motion to award the project to the Anthony Roofing and allow staff to renegotiate the price minus the skylights, the roofing. And then we'll and just not give you an amount at this time. And once I get the amount, I'll forward that on to the board for individual approval sometime this week.
Board okay with that?
Yes.
You bet.
All right. Do we have a second then?
I think I was the second or whatever. I approve of the modification.
Roll call?
Commissioner Maline,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes. Next item is the semi-annual review, approval and or release of closed session minutes and destruction of audio tapes. Jeff, will you please state the purpose of reviewing the tape in open session?
Basically, you've got, this is a required statute that we are required to have the board adopt every 6 months. So you've got the release of closed session minutes and discussion of audio tapes. The board has those specifications on those items in your packet. So anytime, Dave, you are welcome to just ask for board approval, and you got the script before you of how you want to proceed.
All right. Would any commissioner like to make a motion to make the minutes of the closed session of September 19th, 2019 and December 19th, 2019 to be made available to the public? It had been determined by the board that they are no longer required as confidential treatment.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
I'm sorry, Dave, you had mentioned, you said December 19th. It should be December 29th, 2019. You had said December 19th, not 29th. I just want to make sure we have the right date.
Yeah, the correct date is December 19.
Oh, okay, because on your memo, it says December 29th.
Yeah, it's the 19th.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't have any
29th.
roll call.
I don't believe. Check your matrix, Amy.
Yeah, it's the 19th. It's December
the
19th.
We've never had a
Yeah, it's
meeting.
on the actual minutes, it's the 19th.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call, Commissioner Meline,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes. Would any commissioner like to make a motion that the park board hereby determines that the need for confidentiality still exists as to remaining closed session minutes or portions thereof not previously released for public inspection, and the same shall not be released for public inspection at this time?
Yes. So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Meline,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes. Would any commissioner like to make a motion to approve the destruction of audio tapes for the closed session held May 24th, 2018, it by having been determined by the board that the appropriate minutes were recorded as approved and met with the written minutes requirements of the Open Meetings Act, and at least 18 months have passed since the meetings were held?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Meline,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the Lakeview operating hours. Jeff, Joe, would you like to fill us in on what you got in mind?
Yeah, so you got a memorandum from Joe and myself, just with a suggestion. Again, these are just proposed for conversation with the board. We've included these in our budget proposals because we're looking at just trying to reduce operating costs for Lakeview for this upcoming fiscal year, albeit with everything going on. So what we're proposing is just during the weekdays, Monday through Friday, that we close at 9 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. And then also on Saturdays and Sunday that we close at 6 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. So we've run, statistical numbers on the amount of patrons we have in the building between those hours at the last, they're the last hour or two of operating. And usually we have an average of maybe 5 or 6 people in the building. So, just by doing this, it saves us several $1,000s in just staff hours and staff cost. And we just felt like it's not going to be anything that's going to be disruptive to our membership. And it's just a proposal that we wanted to share with the board. Happy to answer any questions or comments if anybody has them.
Any questions for Jeff? Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
You have consensus.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner comments. Commissioner Blue?
Nothing this time.
James, did you have something?
No, I do
Commissioner
not.
Moon? Commissioner Blaine?
No, I'm good.
Commissioner Robbins?
Nothing this evening.
Commissioner Kessler?
Nothing this evening.
And for myself, just everyone be safe, social distance. The more we do it now, the faster we can get out and all be together again. So with that, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Maline,
Yes.
President Dorhoeffer.
Yes, we are adjourned.
Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody. Night.
Bye.
Good night.
Later.